Just back to the fires quickly now, and Nicole Asher is in Yinnar, south of Morwell. Nicole, the biggest concern tonight is in Dargo. What can you tell us about the situation there?
That's right. Now, while there's been an emergency warning for Dargo for most of the afternoon, that warning level has recently been downgraded to a watch and act, but fire authorities are warning the threat is far from over. There's 3 fires burning around Dargo, 2 northwest of the town and 1 just south of that and west of the town. The 2 north of the town have joined together and the fires are covering about 20,000 hectares, so there is a big concern. We were hearing this afternoon that embers were falling on the town and there were about 120 firefighters in Dargo working to protect homes and farms and lives there. Now firefighters are saying that it's still the safest option to leave. While the threat has downgraded for now, it's in bone dry country which has been under drought for 2 or so years, and they're saying that winds are expected to pick up this evening up to about 30 kilometres an hour, so the threat level could increase at any time.
Nicole, you're able to take a camera into the area around Yinnar this afternoon. What did you see?
That's right. So we went up to the hills around Yinnar South where the bushfires have been burning since the weekend, and it's really hilly country there, and firefighters have been working really hard in really difficult and different conditions. Now there's burnt hillsides, there's been kind of plantation forest on fire. We saw while we were up there probably a dozen helicopters come in to drop water on the fire. On one hillside, the flames had burnt up so close to a shed at the top of the hill that there was just metres before that shed would have been destroyed. Firefighters have told us that because the conditions and the terrain is just so hilly, when their members were in the gullies between the hilltops, at times they'd lose radio communications, which makes it a bit scary, you know, when you lose contact with one of your team members for up to 20 minutes at a time. It's really hampered their efforts, yet they've been soldiering on. They've been trying really hard, and today the emergency warning here was downgraded also to a watch and act, but the threat again isn't over. The fire has burnt about 2,000 hectares. 2 properties have been lost. We believe they're houses, and anecdotally we're told that there are many more people who fear that their homes have been lost as well. Now overnight we're expecting a south-southeasterly wind change, and firefighters are warning that will test containment lines. The fire's far from under control and they'll be working through the night to maintain it.
Nicole Asher, thank you.
Have been lost to the fire, including most of the township of Tanimbuk. In central Gippsland, there's another bushfire crisis in Yinnar, the plume of smoke quickly turning into an inferno.
And upon the brigade's arrival, it already had a significant amount of fire activity.
The fire's now spread to nearly 2,000 hectares as firefighters battle the blaze in difficult terrain.
With the Yinnar fire, we're talking about very steep country, large trees, and we're having a lot of issues with hazardous trees.
Evacuation centres have been set up across the region, and Vic Emergency will continue to provide updates throughout the night. Danielle Pope, Win News.
Today, hundreds of other Gippslanders are anxiously waiting to see if their homes are still standing. Gippsland Farmer Relief CEO Melissa Ferguson fled her Yinnar South property yesterday and fears the worst.
Quite traumatic. Like many other Gippslanders at the moment, I'm waiting to see if our family homes have burnt to the ground.
Spot fires saw the blaze grow to 1,800 hectares overnight, and despite the fire getting downgraded to watch and act, residents still aren't allowed to return.
There was an ember attack last night. We are absolutely unsure of what the outcomes are yet. The whole area is closed off.
Despite not knowing if her home in Yinnar South is still standing, Melissa is sticking to her guns. She's asking all Gippslanders to turn out their pockets for local farmers, many of whom have lost thousands in property and livestock during the weekend.
And this is where we're saying that our on-the-ground efforts on the farms to help people before things are too late are vital.
Donations to St Vinny's are recommended, while cash donations to the Farmer Relief can be made via their Facebook page. Louis Gillett, Win News.
At Yinnar South, another fire is continuing to burn, but some who've been there for years are refusing to leave.
The road's been closed down there and up there, and you can't get out anywhere.
So what are you going to do if that fire comes?
Don't know.
Live now to Sophie Griffiths, who's at Churchill tonight. And Sophie, how's the situation looking for firefighters now?
Good evening, Joe. There are currently 18 out-of-control bushfires burning across the Gippsland region, 6 of those with Watch and Act notices. In some positive news, a bushfire that did have an emergency warning out near Dargo has been downgraded to a Watch and Act in the past 30 minutes. However, it's still far from over. There's over 2,000 personnel on the ground out here, and authorities are expecting relatively stable conditions overnight. However, they do hold concerns for a band of thunder set to cross the east of Gippsland, and with that, they're worried more lightning could start fresh fires. As usual, authorities are urging residents to stay updated via the Vic Emergency app. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks for the update, Sophie. Among the Gippsland fires, stories of strong community spirit have emerged. People are donating food to strangers and opening their doors, lending a helping hand to those who have had to flee their homes. Alexandria Zatsamakis reports.
Young families take refuge. Residents flee with very little but the clothes on their back.
It happened so fast. We threw some stuff in the car, but when it came time to leave, we had so much space left in the car.
Morwell's Kernot Hall has been turned into a relief centre, a temporary home for displaced residents and their pets. Behind closed doors, they wait anxiously to hear if their homes are still standing.
We're listening for the updates. And just hanging on every word, really. So it's just the not knowing, and we can't get back, and we're not knowing when we can get back.
Several fires are burning out of control across Gippsland, blanketing towns in smoke and causing poor air quality readings.
Take care, stay indoors, and look to EPA's website for our Airwatch latest information.
School playgrounds usually swarming with children were today empty. The Education Department closing several schools.
The fire authorities don't want people with their kids at school and they're somewhere else if the fire does move, so that what we're saying is keep your kids home, keep your kids with you.
But in the disaster zone emerged acts of kindness. Residents and businesses joined forces to help strangers. Damien and his daughters travelled from Druin to lend a helping hand at Churchill, dropping off food to CFA crews.
I went through Ash Wednesday in '83 and I went through the Black Saturday in '09, and going through this one I know a few people have been put out, and it's a good way of helping out the community.
The smoky scenes were all too familiar for some who lived through Black Saturday. Churchill's neighbourhood centre offering coffee and a chat.
Several of my friends left quite early because they couldn't handle experiencing it again, and they've actually totally left the area because they didn't want to have those memories coming back again.
As the fires continue to burn, authorities are urging Gippsland residents to stay vigilant, obey road closure signs and heed warnings. Alexandria Dadzamarcus, 9 News.
Fighters, almost 2,000 of them are battling on the front line. We'll get live reports from our team on the ground at Narnagoon and at Yinnar soon. At the moment, it looks as though the worst of the fire at Bunyip is behind us, but it has left the communities there reeling. Here's the situation as it stands now. Officially, 9 buildings have been destroyed. Of those, 7 are at Bunyip, but locals fear more have been lost. 2 more buildings have been destroyed at Yinnar South. The destruction at Bunyip has unleashed a fierce backlash, with angry locals accusing authorities of ignoring the lessons of Black Saturday. Fire crews are also battling a blaze at Yinnar, south of Morwell. Georgia Comensoli is there. And Georgia, what's the situation where you are?
Well, firefighters are still trying to control the blaze here at the Yinnar region. Around 160 firefighters have travelled some as far from Bendigo to help crews here. Their main priority at the moment is to save as many houses and properties as they possibly can. The CFA do want to remind residents here, though, not to be complacent and to watch and respond to the local warnings. Flames leaping uphill, desperate to climb the Yinnar South hills.
That's moving, and we don't want to be near those power lines.
They've been bombing the crap out of it, so they're doing well.
The fire has been burning for 3 days. Last night, an emergency warning was in place for the Yinnar South region. By this morning, that changed to Watch and Act.
It's been all right so far, so for us anyway. Others aren't quite so lucky.
Firefighters say one of the biggest challenges faced by volunteers is the unpredictability of where exactly the flames will spread across these hills, as well as fire trucks being cut off from communication. Yinnar local Davo has kept his petrol station open all weekend, filling fire trucks for as long as he's needed.
just so we fill the tankers up so they don't have to go to Morwell. They save time and it's more convenient for them. We're all just part of the team, trying to help out.
Firefighters have been trying to control this blaze for days. It's been a battle to stay one step ahead, and right now the priority is to save homes. 2 houses have been confirmed lost in the inferno, with many evacuated residents anxious to see what awaits them. Georgia Commons Solly, 7 News.